that students have some basic understanding of the European history or a world history. It is said that history is a root and politics is a shoot. Fine. So, along with polity, we will be starting your class of world history too. It's a short portion, but it's even if you don't get lot many questions in mains, but it is a part of the syllabus, we have to do it. Fine. And let us finish it now itself. So besides me, Kritika ma'am will take the world history portion. Fine. Now for all of you, in case there is any problem with the way teacher is delivering, you are finding it fast, you are finding it slow, you are not finding it, suppose you are not understanding, feel free. We are together to achieve an objective. Fine. So it's not that you should not stop so far, or you should not feel hesitant, reluctant. So far, it's a matter of your career is concerned. Fine. And I always believe that things should always be very demand driven, not just supply driven. You are studying here, you are studying for civil services, not for getting a degree of graduation. Fine. You are studying here to clear the competition. Fine. Clear the competition means to beat others. We have to put others, or we have to move forward and beating the others. Fine. So first of all, bring that particular mentality, something which we can call it as a killer's mentality, and don't feel hesitant in providing your feedback to the teacher respectfully, in the sense, because like sometimes students do not communicate to the teacher, they keep it with themselves. Teacher is not going to feel bad. Fine. And don't care for teacher feeling bad. Fine. We are here for the purpose. So because any teacher will take time to come in pace, it has to be understanding on both the sides. And if by your effort you feel things are not coming as it is there, then I am very easily available. You are all free to come and approach, so that we can take the corrective steps from time to time. Okay. So teachers as well as students, like, we have to keep everyone, I will be the point of coordination to keep you also on track and them also on track. Anybody can go out of track. Fine. So be free, feel free, and in your communications. Now the second thing I want to tell, I want to introduce Mr. Saurabh. Come here. Saurabh is going to be your mentor, and if I am not available and you feel reluctant, you can communicate to him. This is the problem, whatever. Fine. He is also well versed with various subjects, so you can be sitting. So in case if you want further guidance, etc., he is there. Take in touch if you want to show certain answers. If you have other type of concerns, you can always contact. And Mr. Rahul Tiwari, he is a course coordinator. He is here. He will come maybe later. अभी है यहीं कहीं. ठीक है. तो different context points हैं. बट आप तो पॉलिटिकल साइंस के भी रहेंगे, और यहाँ पे क्लास हो रहा है तो मैं यहाँ रहती ही हूँ. ठीक है. तो अपना पर्पस ये है कि अपना जिस पर्पस के लिए हम आए हैं, दैट पर्पस शुड बी सर्व्ड. तो वी विल वर्क विद अ वेरी कॉम्पिटिटिव माइंडसेट. ठीक है. अब कुछ चीजें हैं जिसमें अननेसेसरी परेशान नहीं होना है, बिकॉज थिंग्स विल टेक टाइम। टाइम में अभी शुरू में आपको थोड़ा पेशेंट रहिए, बहुत सारी चीजें एक साथ नहीं करनी है, जितना हो सकता है उतना ही करना है। अगर हमारा बेसिक्स स्ट्रॉन्ग है तो वी विल बी एबल टू हैंडल द करंट पोर्शन एनी टाइम। Okay, so we will be including certain classes with respect to the newspapers and the facts, so that problem will be solved. But from now onwards, newspaper is not that you should be really so much worried, but newspaper is the most, if you see, analysis of prelims questions, analysis of mains questions. For civil services students, newspaper is the best textbook, because the questions are of very current natures. But in order to solve those questions, basics will be required. So I recommend all of you to read one paper, whichever paper you are reading. But I continue to believe that Hindu is more oriented towards the preparation. Keep the traditional approach. And when you study Hindu from your point of view, don't focus more on mains perspective. Fine? Like editorials and all. Don't focus so much on that. You may not understand those things from exams perspective. So focus newspaper from prelims point of view. ठीक है? If you see the nature of the questions which are coming in prelims every year, because if I talk about questions like flag code and the way they have asked, questions on Evidence Act, last to last year they have asked question on differences in bail and parole and these type of things. So at times, even in the imagination of teachers, fine, we may not be imagining that these type of questions may come, and you will not find this type of information in any of the textbooks. Okay, so what is there? Your textbook, maximum time should go with the paper, but step by step focus on prelims and paper reading. You read a paper, explained section or whatever the factual sections, especially science and technology section. Fine. And either you can make different files or you do online. So categorize the information related to polity and law. A lot of things keep on coming in terms of judgments, in terms of political issues, and from your side, facts, collection of facts should be your main work. Okay, and analysis, and primarily classes will give you basic information, but facts have no limit, so you should also remain involved with that. Okay, in terms of how to go about it, as the syllabus will increase, it will become difficult to manage the things. Like at initially, revision etc will be easy, but later on it will not be that easy, because things will multiply like anything. But everyone does it, you will also be able to do. It is just developing a familiarity and bringing yourself in that mindset. Fine. So don't worry, but just continue the process. Regularity is very important. Fine. You should have even if you have 2 hours time of your study, but it should be consistent. Consistency is important, not how much time. Suppose if you think besides classes, I can't study more than 6 hours, don't study. If your limit is 6 hours, study for 4 hours. But for those 4 hours, the quality should be such that the work of 6 hours can be done in 4 hours or 3 hours. Full concentration, no disturbance. That will be more, and have a plan that can run on a consistent, sustainable plan. From the very beginning, there is no need to overdo and then lose the momentum. The graph should move like this. Okay? By the time prelims come, you yourself will be able to read more. But from the very first day, don't overdo. Overdoing is also not good. Fine, keep things simple. Knowledge does not have any limits. We have to define our limits. Ki only this much I have to study. Giving proper, like balancing is very important. It should not happen that I do only one thing and I ignore other things. So this exam, remember, it's a personality exam. They are not looking experts in a particular subject. They are looking for persons who know how to do time management, how to do resource management. Always administrative job will be such where challenges will always be more and commensurate resources, constraints will always be there. You have to think that why this particular type of examination, what is the purpose? Everything has a purpose. Fine. There is a purpose behind the type of the paper they are introducing in CSAT, because they will require more logical minds, plus who can take faster decisions. There has been a purpose behind introducing negative marking. There is a purpose to shift the nature of essay questions from more descriptive, broadly, very objective type of issues where students used to, you could have prepared essay earlier on the basis of the subject knowledge. If you have social issues knowledge, you could have written. If you have political science, international relations, you could have written. Fine. So now they have shifted, and what they expect that you should emerge as an original thinker. Philosophical essays, they test your ability to understand the things, analyze things, originality of your thought. So every year, if the trend, and there is a reason why contemporary issues dominate, and they should dominate, because world is changing very fast, and a person who cannot remain on his toes all the time will not be able to survive. You don't have to, you are going to take up the roles and responsibilities which is different from any other profession. Any other profession, it is more or like, it's about personal growth. But here it is a responsibility of the nation, be it in domestic sphere, be it in external sphere. You can see how professional the Chinese bureaucrats are, how professional the American bureaucrats are. So among those professionals, you have to survive, plus you have to ensure that the interest of your country is not impacted, rather you are successful in delivering the things. Such type of things cannot happen if you are not smart enough, if you don't work on the skills. You remember, you take this pressure that what type of demand, what type of job this is. And obviously, if you are not a personality according, if you are very good student, if you are a very good in academics, still this will not help, because nature of questions are not going to be academic even if it is your optional paper. They are going to be very application oriented. They want persons who are aware of, who have actually interest. Students take current affairs as a burden, but they need people who should be taking interest in current affairs. Fine. So change your approach of looking at the things. And when facts are developing at such a fast scale, how I should develop the skill to manage those things? So obviously, once we develop good conceptual clarity, then only you will be able to manage the information. Fine. So, and always the biggest asset in this examination is your mental strength. So how much you keep your mind fresh, you keep your mind in a pleasant state. That is going to help. Enjoy it. Keep on enjoying it. Feel good about learning. Don't take learning as a burden. Okay? So who we are is what our ideas are, what we think and how we think. Fine. So don't forget, we all have equal mental strength, but we may not have, or we may not be using our mental strength in an equal manner. For maybe our approach towards the things are not clear. We are fed with certain myths and misconceptions. Fine. So even if I tell from my lifestyle, like it's very hectic from morning till night, the only thing how I manage this is by keeping my mental state in a very pleasant sense. Fine. This is what you learn. So if your mind is learning, even some failures, some challenges are coming, but if you are thinking that you are learning out of it, you will keep on getting strength. So have faith, confidence. Nobody is perfect, neither students nor teacher nor institution nor country. Fine. But together we can add to each other's strength. Fine. So it's not that it's not a university class. Fine. It's not that it's a different thing. It is something we have in a very short time. We have to do lot. So everybody has to little bit more smart than they used to be, than you may have been. And just enjoy. Any problem ever you face, you are free to come. Okay? And now for any aspirant, I said a newspaper is a textbook, and the best guide is your syllabus and the previous year question paper. Because every specific topic is understood in a specific way. Fine. We can study same fundamental rights for political science, fundamental rights for law, fundamental rights for GS polity. But the orientation keeps on changing. Fine. So in polity, in GS, the orientation of the questions will be more of contemporary nature. The debates, for example, right now, uniform civil code debates, for example, hate speech issue, electoral reforms. So the textbook is paper and the guide is your questions. And it is always advisable that whenever a topic is taught to you, from your side, you should have a list of questions of that topic written by you. so that your mind is prepared that I have to understand things in that direction. And that is not a wastage of time. Make it a point, at least mains questions from that topic. And what should be your objective? You should be challenging the teacher also. Fine. So challenging, again I say, in a humble manner, because teachers have ego. I am a teacher without ego, but I feel teachers, every person has an ego. So you should be smart. ठीक है, लेकिन ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि मुझे वो टॉपिक, आफ्टर आई हैव डन दैट टॉपिक, I should be able to answer those questions. Fine. If after dealing the topic, any topic by any teacher, if you feel you are not able to answer the question, just let me know. So that, because our purpose is we develop necessary knowledge and skills so that we can actually do the problem solving which is given in the question. We are studying just to solve the questions. Okay, so focus on that. So now let us understand now let us start. So I will be starting with Indian polity, constitution, governance, and it is very important, there is nothing to mug up the things. ठीक है, इस एग्जाम में mugging up is not going to help, only understanding will help. So you should get a clarity more than knowing what. You should be knowing why. Why only this? Because if you want to do prelims questions, you should know elimination, you should know certain type of thought process has to be developed. And as a part of this program, there will be the test on the basis of the questions covered. Fine, it will be mains and prelims oriented, that we will be informing from time to time. So now if you see your GS paper 2 syllabus, you have got the syllabus? No. Fine. So there are 5 segments of this paper. Fine. So first is governance, second is constitution, polity, social justice, and international relations. This paper is actually the base of all other papers. Fine. And there is a huge overlap, like if you do social justice and social issues and ethics in governance. So try to see the linkages from one paper to the other paper. So obviously polity paper is the heart and soul. Matlab, this is the base on which, because if you see other papers, in paper 1 itself you have geography, history, sociology and other culture too, but this is one whole paper. And this is also very like the paper which is very current oriented, which is very technical also, because you have to study the constitution. Fine. So normally, like besides my notes will be there. If you want to read a book, okay, the better book which gives some understanding is the book by D.D. Basu. Fine. You can take Lakshmikant's book later on when you are revising the things for prelims. Otherwise, Lakshmikant's book doesn't give any basic information, and it's a myth that it is difficult to understand D.D. Basu, but I don't think, I feel it is much easier to, because they have given some explanations which is altogether missing. So it's up to you, but when I myself will teach. My basic reference for the constitution, मतलब मैं जिससे पढ़ाती हूँ, that is from D.D. Basu. ठीक है? Now comes the second thing, which students are normally having is PM Bakshi, but it is not necessary. What is PM Bakshi? PM Bakshi is not a book as such. It is just a constitution. It's a what? It's a book that is about constitution. It tells about Article 1 is there. So it's a reference book. There is no need to purchase that book. Suppose you have to see Article 2, you can see on net also. So there is nothing for GS students as such that they start studying from Bakshi. Bakshi's book is just to read what exactly is written in the constitution. So it is our reference book. D.D. Basu can be your basic book because it carries some literature into it to understand. In the absence of that, like Lakshmikant, this becomes so dry subject. Fine, that is the basic problem in, and with certain factual errors also therein, but that is not there in D.D. Basu. Okay? And of course, be consistently, just be aware of current things, that will be more than enough. Okay. And now everything, like we should be very clear about each and every term. And in your syllabus, the starting topic is constitution. Fine. So constitution is the base. Why this social justice term is used? Because our constitution is not an ordinary constitution. The ordinary constitutions' basic purpose is to tell about the rules by which a country will be governed. But our constitution, like our Prime Minister says, double engine government. Fine. Our constitution is also dual burdened because the main aim is to achieve social justice. Okay. So social justice. Now constitution is there. Objective of constitution is social justice. But ultimately, the link who will deliver social justice? Fine. The government is going to deliver. ठीक है? यहाँ पर delivery है. You have to understand the delivery, how the modes of delivery, how the philosophy of governance is changing. Fine. So once governance was just about law and order, but now almost every country have welfare state. Fine. Then the countries realized that we are not able to deliver. Fine. So new principles like e-governance, citizens charter, RTI, social audit, many such things have come into existence. Okay? So nature of governance, 21st century governance, its nature, its philosophy, that is to be understood. Fine. And together they form actually polity. ठीक है? तो polity मतलब political system. Political system is based on constitution, aims at social justice, governance is the means. And then no political system today exists in vacuum. We are living in a world which is very interdependent. Fine. The borders have become porous borders, and international and domestic, they have become so much interdependent. Even for the issues like agriculture policy, which is a state issue. Okay. But what we see, you have to follow the basic guidelines based on the agreements which we enter into WTO. Okay. So now international relations and polity, they have become so much interdependent. G20, climate change, development. So it is very difficult to distinguish. Okay. Still in your syllabus, and if we see in terms of weightage, the biggest weightage will be on constitution. IR weightage is less, but it is also gradually increasing. IR I will be doing, but primarily I will be doing from analytical point of view. It will not be humanly possible. So from your side, make a register of IR. If any conference happens, where is that place? A particular, suppose G7, where that conference has happened, what is the origin year of G conference, some other organization, where is the headquarter, these type of general knowledge type of things, you should be doing it. We will not get time for that. SARC came into existence where is a headquarter of SARC or BIMSTEC. These type of IR things you will have to do on your own. Factual things, origin, year, meeting, okay? Conceptual I will be doing. So now let us understand the concept of constitution. Every year in prelims also there will be always a question on the concept of constitution. And concept of constitution is not that difficult. So today we will first understand what the constitution is, what is its purpose. And my way of teaching is I will first explain, then make you write. So focus more on listening, understanding, and then we will write. So let us start with the concept of constitution. Write it down. Concept of constitution. So first of all, let us understand definition of a constitution. First write definition. So what is constitution? Constitution is simply, you can say, the fundamental law governing a political system, right? Constitution is a fundamental law governing a political system. Now there is a word political system. Do you understand what is political system? Can you define political system? What can be the nearest word to the political system? From general studies point of view, studying Indian political system means studying about Indian state only. Okay? So political system means state. So fundamental law governing state or a political system. Fine. So now the question is, why not the term state is used? Fine. And why the term political system is used? Because those who have political science, they will study it that the way political science is being studied and its terminologies have changed. There was a time when political science as a subject was very close to law. So when you use the term state, state is a very legalistic term. ठीक है, स्टेट एक लीगल टर्म है, लॉयर्स स्टेट की बात करते हैं, ठीक है, और जो पॉलिटिकल साइंस स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम की बात करते हैं, बिकॉज स्टेट हैज अ स्ट्रक्चर, स्टेट हैज इंस्टीट्यूशंस, लेजिस्लेचर, जुडिशियरी, एग्जीक्यूटिव, okay, but a politics of any country is not about knowing its legislature, executive and judiciary. Even the functioning of legislature will be shaped by factors beyond these organizations and institutions. For example, the functioning of Indian parliament is too much shaped by the party politics. Fine. That is why anti-defection law has to come. So the study of parties, the study of pressure groups, the study of electoral behavior, these type of things are not a part of legal studies. Okay, but to understand how political system operates, factors which are influencing the functioning of these institutions, you have to study the factors other than the institution. ठीक है, तो अब क्या कॉन्सेप्ट हो गया? When I say political system of the country, I am going to study parliament in a more comprehensive manner, where I will not be just studying the provisions given in the constitution. I will also be studying how our parliament is getting affected by the social processes, the economic processes which are happening in the country. So the concept of system has emerged. ठीक है? So when you study single institution, then it becomes institutional approach, and when you study a institution in a context, it becomes systems approach. Fine. So now things are studied in systems approach. For example, you study one planet, fine, then it's an institution, but a single planet is operating as a part of a social system or as a part of solar system. So you have to see the things in relation. Indian state is not existing in vacuum. Indian state is operating as a part of international system, and whatever happening in India is getting affected by that. Okay, so the term system, is it wider? In the prelims, they want to know some very basic concepts. Are you clear or not? And make it a point that every word that you use, you should know the meaning. Fine. They can ask why, what is the difference in a state and a political system? Okay, you have underlined political system, just write its meaning. Right? System means studying things. Not in isolation. But in relation to each other. Okay? Studying things as a state and as a system. You understanding the difference? Not in isolation, but in relation to each other. ठीक है? Now you write why systems approach is taken, right? Why systems approach is taken now? Now, underline now. अभी क्या हो गया है? Which type of world we are living? Globalized. ठीक है? Now, तो arrow करके, arrow means where I want to emphasize. लिखो right, we live in a highly globalized world. How do you define globalized world? What is globalized world? Mixing, globalized word, underline करो globalized. ठीक है? Arrow करके just write define globalization. ठीक है? So globalization is defined in many ways, but there are some common phrases by which we define globalization. One phrase is borderless world. Globalization is a borderless world. Oblique, there is another very, if someone says, define globalization in one word, borderless world. Another word can be global village. Fine. So what is the tendency? Why this word has been used? Borderless means border is not there. Means interaction can be faster, cheaper, fine, better, more. So because the world has become porous, it is at times even globalization has been defined in terms of depression in the dimensions of time and space. Fine. Now the time does not matter. Something happens in US. Within seconds you come to know. And as if the space has also not matter, because you cannot remain unaffected by what happened in US as while living in India. So it can also be described in terms of compression of time and space. So write another term, compression, compress कर दिया, COMPRESS, compression in time and space, which means what? Another meaning is world has become smaller. Smaller, congested, hot. Don't write all these things. World has become more hot, more congested, more, and when there will be more congestion, there will be more fights. The world has become more conflictual also because of globalization. Fine. Though we always wanted world should become more cooperative, but that is very idealistic view. Globalization started from 90s. From globalization, we are entering into more conflictual world or not. Fine. So leave it, but these are different ways. So what does all these things means? It means just write the above terms show, the above terms show no political system or state is operating in vacuum. ठीक है? So it's a fundamental law governing a political system. Fine. All elements of a political system, they have to abide by these certain fundamental rules. The old usage of the term used to be state when this type of interaction was not there, but now we call it more as a political system. But let us keep ourselves to the original. So we should also know what is a state. Okay, so now just understand the definition of state. What is a state? I think last year, this very basic question they asked. What are the constituent elements of a state in prelims? And it is such a basic thing. Still so many students have done wrong. ठीक है? So even you should be someone who should not think anything as of minute importance. Fine. So everything should be very given due recognition and place. So now how to understand the state? What is a state? Fine. So state can be understood in two ways. There are ways of understanding things. In the sense, how do you understand something? Do you have any way of knowing things? If I have to tell you, understand this bottle, fine. How will you understand this bottle? Read this bottle. What will you read in this bottle? Huh? Its physical appearance. Matlab, it is made up of certain, first of all, you see the shape. Shape, you see shape is in this way. Then you see it is made up of certain material. Then what will you see? Components is fine. That's a. What else will you study? It occupies some volume. Everything I will. Don't you see what is the purpose? Use. This is to serve the or to carry the water. What else will you study? While you study, what all come to your mind? Do you think it's a perfect bottle or we can make a better bottle? पर्पस तो है. जैसे किसी चीज को हम पढ़ रहे हैं, देयर कैन बी डिफरेंट. उसका फंक्शन क्या है? व्हाट इज इट्स फंक्शन? व्हाट इज इट्स रोल? व्हाट इज इट्स पर्पस? व्हाट इज इट्स फॉर्म? फाइन. एंड प्लस as a human beings, we always strive for perfection, excellence. Fine. So how many of you think it's a perfect bottle? It's not perfect. Then give me reasons. What imperfection do you see in this bottle? Temperature of water. So you will make a bottle which tells the temperature also. Huh? Plastic should have been avoided. We can have something which is more sustainable and more healthy. Okay. So maybe it is not very convenient to drink, etc. Fine. So bottle, it will keep on evolving. Fine. So the constitutions also keep on evolving. Fine, that's why we call them as a organic document also. So studying state can be by different perspectives. You can study state in terms of its structural features, its forms, in terms of its purpose. Let us keep it thing. So what is the purpose? So when a state is understood, we can understand a state in terms of its composition, ठीक है, or its form. So what is a form of Indian state? What is a form? Geographical form, you can say, in terms of border, in terms of topography. So form of Indian state can be studied by geographers. Fine. They may study about the geographical features. They may study about the demographic features. Fine. So state can be understood. Indian state can be understood in terms of its geography, in terms of its demography. It can be understood also in terms of its function. Fine. So function is where we emphasize more. So function is governance done by government. Fine. And then we have to identify why we are not calling Andhra Pradesh or UP as a state. Why we call India as a state. Means what is a norm? What is established norm of understanding the thing? So what is the purpose of a state? Governance. Fine. And what are its structural features? Its people, its geography, and what is its legal status? Legally, that group of people who are considered as sovereign are considered as a state. So legal character of a state is sovereignty. Functional aspect is governance. So there are different ways. You should develop and do you think, and all these features of Indian state, the basic features of Indian state, you study from where? Constitution. ठीक है? So constitution is the base on the basis of which you study the state. So do you think Indian state and the model of Indian state given in the constitution is perfect? Is it perfect? Nothing is perfect. Fine. So there is always a scope for improvement. Fine. So should you be defensive? No, we are perfect. If I ask a question, our constitution is perfect. Do you think it's perfect or it is imperfect? What will be your answer? And always remember, answering is not just telling. Answering means what do you mean by answering? No. Answering means handling the situation. Fine? So interview is not question and answer round. There's no KBC type of things there. Fine? It is all about handling a situation. If I say, give your opinion on Indian Constitution, is it perfect or imperfect? How will you handle the situation? Neither perfect nor imperfect. That's no answer. How will you handle a person? So you can say that nothing is perfect, but so far it has worked well, and from time to time there have also been a necessary adjustments. Fine. So constitutions are not perfect. It's the people who running the constitution shape how this will work, and nothing is perfect. Everything is work in progress. And I am proud that our country, and we have not hesitated from the very, tell me, amending a constitution is a good thing for a constitution? No. If Indian constitution required to be amended in the very first year and in such a comprehensive manner, so Indian Constitution First Amendment Act introduced one article, Article 31B. Article 31B adds 9th schedule. The objective of the 9th schedule was that you put anything in 9th schedule, even if it is unconstitutional, it becomes valid. Does 9th schedule questions the very purpose of writing the constitution in the very first year? Is 9th schedule a direct challenge to the legitimacy? Suppose a question come, you should think in that line. Suppose a question come, suppose the 9th schedule is there, but are they going to ask till 9th schedule? But they will be asking questions in a way that will tell your grasp of things plus your smartness to handle the things. Okay? So suppose a question, and you have to start thinking in a very interlinked manner. The questions are going to be interlinked. They will be testing your wisdom, not just knowledge. Fine? So 9th schedule, if I give a question, puts a very question mark on the very legitimacy of the constitution with the far-reaching change that it has introduced. Give your point of view. Okay? So in the last page of your copy, you write this thought-based questions. So someday we will discuss how to handle those things. At least you start thinking. Fine? So write this practice question that the First Amendment Act which brings far-reaching changes in the very first year of the existence of the Constitution comma, full stop, right? Full stop. To what extent it would be right to say that it challenges the legitimacy of the Constitution itself. Ideally, Constitution should not change very easily, and a far-reaching change to the extent that anything unconstitutional becomes constitutional. All restrictions that have been introduced in Part 3, Constitution cannot be amended and all, carry no meaning if you have 9th schedule. So is there easy answer to this question? It challenges the legitimacy, but you can't, you have to be a spokesman of the state. You have to be the defender of the state. Your answers cannot be from the perspective of political professors or analysts. You will be what? What will be your role? Defender of the state. ठीक है? Answering this question will be easy, but you have to manage it. So you will innovate the doctrines like organic constitution, the basic structure. So ultimately the idea is understanding the concepts not in silos, but understanding the concepts and developing the ability to answer the complicated questions which may require application of so many concepts at a time, from basic structure to judicial review to organic constitution, along with Supreme Court's views like IR Kohlu case, this, that, how this very academic concern has been managed to appear legitimate. ठीक है? तो सिंपली ऐसे लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ा, सिलो में पढ़ा, लेकिन काम कैसा करना पड़ जाएगा? You will have to apply your mind, develop your views. ठीक है? Ultimately ऐसे नहीं होगा कि fundamental right you have studied. Suppose you have studied right to equality. They can link and they should link the question with social justice. The social justice can be linked with reservation. Reservation can be linked with role of caste. So you have to keep on linking the wires. Is that clear? तो ऐसे थोड़ी कैपेसिटी बढ़ानी है, क्योंकि जो बुक में दिया है is not what we require. What we require ultimately that has to be based on understanding. केवल बुक के साथ जस्टिस नहीं करना है कि हमें पूरी बुक याद है, क्योंकि बुक फिर हमारा सिर्फ गाइड है. ठीक है? पर्पस कुछ और है. वो कैपेसिटी आपको लानी होगी, यानी कि एक्टिव लर्निंग करनी होगी. ठीक है? यू आर फाइंडिंग इट ड्रेडफुल? डर लग रहा है? नहीं लग रहा है? चलो फाइन. तो व्हाट वी वर डिस्कसिंग, जैसे ये मान लो क्वेश्चन है. ठीक है? आप व्हाट लास्ट में हम टॉपिक में क्या पढ़ रहे थे? व्हाट इज अ डेफिनेशन ऑफ स्टेट. ठीक है? तो इसका सिंपल पहले आंसर लिखो. अ स्टेट in modern times is described through four basic elements. ठीक है? So the four basic elements you write. First is fixed territory. Now second write population. Third write government. Fourth, you write sovereignty. ठीक है? तो here you have to emphasize on one word. In the first statement you read, which word you think needed to be qualifying word है? First statement यहीं पे. Before I discuss the four feature, एक sentence मैंने बोला है. क्या है वो सेंटेंस? In modern times the state is. So which word should catch your attention? Modern times. Means in earlier times, maybe the nature of a state was different. This is a definition of modern state. In modern times, we define a state in this fashion. Fine. For example, if I say, when it was not modern time, let us say ancient time, Indian state and Chinese state, they had fixed boundaries. You knew this is boundary of India? No. Indian state and Afghanistan state were fixed boundaries? No. Boundary concept was not there. That's why at times we say that Afghanistan was also part of India. We will again create a Khand Bharat. ठीक है. But that territorial state was not the feature of ancient and medieval times. Territorial state, where fixation with the territory is a very recent thing. So if I talk about under Cholas and Vijayanagar Empire and all, the territory of Indian state was throughout Indochina. Am I correct? No. Territory, India had a cultural influence. Territorial concept was not there. If you read the newspapers, at times you will find this word that India and China have been civilizational states. Fine. Rather than territorial states. Are you following what I'm speaking? Territorial state is a new concept. It is a concept of modern times. It is a European concept. It was never our original concept. So, European history is full of wars among these states or not? But our history, before 1962 war, before 1962, is it full of war? India-China history? No. So when wars started, when we started having a fixed boundary, what is the major cause of conflict between India and China? The boundary. Major point of dispute is boundary. Point of dispute with Pakistan? Boundary. ठीक है. तो ये मॉडर्न कॉन्सेप्ट है बाउंड्री का, और बाउंड्री कॉन्सेप्ट इज वेरी फिक्सेटेड विथ वॉर. इट गिव्स राइज टू वॉर. अनसेटल्ड बाउंड्रीज. इंडिया चाइना या इंडो चाइना रीजन, where you bring the land countries of Southeast Asia, fine, they reflect what? The civilizational influence of India and China. Fine. And India, China, so there was a civilizational influence of India in Afghanistan, Bamiyan, Buddha and these. Fine. Because territory was a restrictive concept. Was there any system of visa and permit? No. Fahiyan came with some permission to India? No, it's a modern Western concept. Fine. So our state is now working on which principle? Modern and modern European. This concept has been introduced in India by the British. And because international law is defined by the Europeans, We go by their definitions. We study the things by their definitions. ठीक है? So forget the states in earlier times. In earlier times, even Iran was a civilizational state. Turkey was a civilizational state, not a Ottoman Empire, not a territorial state. So which definition I have given? Definition of which state? Modern state, where territory is very, very important. Fine. So now you write origin of modern state. So now tell me, is India as a civilizational state is gradually becoming territorial state? Yes. So we, even on this subcontinent, different civilizations were living. Fine. And it was all civilizational idea, the Dravidian civilization, the Aryan civilization, the different linguistic groups, cultural groups were existing. Fine. Then we adopted modern system of governance. We created linguistic boundaries. Fine. The moment boundaries are created in Northeast, what you see? Continuous problem of governance emerging, because we are not accustomed to live in boundaries, and we do not actually give legitimacy, like people who believe that the boundaries are not legitimate. Especially there is lot of problem the way states have been carved out in Northeast. There is a demand for separate state for Kukis, separate state for Nagas. Nagas talk about greater Nagalim. They believe that certain areas of Manipur should be a part of it. Fine. So because this is the state formation in India has been bottom up or top down? Top down process. We have tried to meet the aspirations of the people in the peninsular part as a part of linguistic states. Is still certain issues like issue of Belgaum remains, fine, certain territorial, but there's a big problem as far as Northeast is concerned, because Northeast is, you can say, a like laboratory of ethnicities. Okay, so Naga word is a very broad term. Within Nagas, there may be so many differences. Fine. And people are very conscious about their ethnic identities. Okay. And the constant conflict continues. So understand things in a very practical sense. So do you think that Northeast is a traditional society? Near to nature? They want to live according to their nature? Fine. And where Indian state is trying to intrude and introduce the modern systems? Fine. And there is a resentment against that. Though our constitution tries to provide lot of autonomy in terms of 6th schedule, giving lot of leeway, freedom, but what is there in the constitution may not be existing in practice. Have you ever raised this question if I talk about continued violence in Manipur? Manipur is a state which is overtly watched, excessively watched. The third largest deployment of the police forces is there. It is certain pockets are under Armed Forces Special Power Act. Fine. Continuously watched by the Home Ministry, considering that it shares the border with Myanmar. Fine. When so much of Indian state is there, so much surveillance is there, how come we are not able to stop the violence? Do you have a question? Do you have an answer to this? Can we call it a complete failure of state in Manipur? Be it a state government, be it a local government, be it a central government. Why things are not in place? Why Manipur violence could not be controlled? You have to think in that way. You don't have to just study 6th schedule. Fine. You have to study the things. Where is the problem? Pardon? Their aspirations are, whose aspirations are fulfilled in this country? Everyone has that part of complaint. In that sense, Bihar should be the first to go for resentment. So, what is your logic? Top down is fine. You are just speaking what I am saying. Why, what police is doing? What army is doing? What central government is doing? What state government is doing? What collectors are doing? What IPS officers are doing there? What is their function? Huh? To bring the situation under control despite using Article 355. Fine. So why center has not imposed Article 356? They have imposed? No, 355 is there. Breakdown state is there. Suppose there have been a government of Congress and BJP at the center. Government would have stopped with 355. They would have gone for 356 also. Okay. But what is the need of 356? Your government is there. It's a double engine government plus triple engine. Triple engine because the adjacent state of Assam is also there. You can get all support. Why? You are reading Manipur violence. How many? तुम लोग क्या डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हो? कितने लोग मरे? क्या डेटा? What newspaper have you read? मणिपुर वायलेंस के have you read any article? तो कुछ आइडिया क्यों नहीं? क्या पढ़ा? हाँ? रिजर्वेशन है. They want reservation. Fine, मेथीज का. बट तुमने कॉज पढ़ा? ये क्वेश्चन आया दिमाग में? किसी आर्टिकल में क्वेश्चन था पेपर के? In any newspaper, have they dealt with this question? The continued violence? है? हाँ बताओ. No, you are not understanding the question. Studying the Manipur violence in a holistic manner. ठीक है? You studied what happened. You studied how many damage, loss happened. You also studied what have been the causes of the protest. You have also studied the events resulting into that. But you have not studied the basic thing, that you are not asking the basic question. The basic question is why we are, the question of governance I am asking. ठीक है? तो गवर्नेंस क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज द गवर्नेंस? गवर्नेंस का क्वेश्चन क्यों नहीं पूछा? सो अब मान लो इंटरव्यू में दे आस्क इट्स अ फेलियर ऑफ स्टेट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, यस और नो? कंप्लीट फेलियर। फेलियर ऑफ लोकल तो ही है और सेंटर भी है ही है। क्यों है? No, you have to study, na? You should, when you study a particular topic, you should know what to study. You should search for the question. The basic question for a person going in administration is not what, why, yeah, what have, how many people. You are not a journalist to report इतने लोग मरे, वो तो एक पार्ट है, रीजंस हैं। गवर्नेंस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है उसका। गवर्नेंस पार्ट इज दैट देयर इज ऑलवेज द लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज कॉम्प्लिसिट because each local administration is also coming from a particular ethnicity. They are letting their own people to take up, to loot the arms and continue all this thing. ठीक है? So the gap between the law breakers and upholders of the law is not there. जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पूरा कॉम्प्लिसिट है, लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन नेचुरल है बिकॉज देयर ओन पीपल, देयर आर कुकीज, देयर आर मेतेज इन द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. सो व्हेन मेतेज और कुकीज दे गो एंड लूट द वेपन फ्रॉम एन आर्मरी, they are not stopping it. Is the bureaucracy acting with neutrality? The very basic ethics. So there are ethical issues related to it. One particular issue, there is a administrative issue related to it. There is a security issue related to it. Fine. Then union government. There is also what we see. We see in Manipur the problem of disagreement. There are tensions despite being in the same party. There are problems because local administration is accusing the state administration, accusing the center not taking the strong action because cookies, the state is under metes. Fine. And they are saying that union government has a special agreement with the cookies which have helped BJP to increase its influence and gain electoral victory in the region. So they are being soft. ठीक है? So if center is working from the interest of a party, fine. Local administration is not exercising the complete neutrality which a bureaucracy should have, on the basis of which Max Weber's पूरी theory of bureaucracy, the theory अभी जैसे bureaucracy, civil services, role of civil services in democracy, these are the case studies. ठीक है? तो ऐसे थोड़ा लिंक करके पढ़ना है, चीजों के एंगल्स को समझ के पढ़ना है. ठीक है? So anyway, अब हम कुछ और पढ़ रहे थे. क्या पढ़ रहे थे? हाँ, fixed territory, origin. Okay. So let us see the origin of modern state. Here you just say that origin of modern state is what is the time and what is the place. ठीक है? तो write place of origin. प्लेस ऑफ ओरिजिन इज यूरोप, यूरोप में है। तो मॉडर्न स्टेट यूरोपियन है, बिकॉज ऑफ कोलोनियलिज्म इट हैज बिकम एवरीवेयर यूनिवर्सल। एंड टाइम, टाइम के लिए यू राइट 1648। ऐसे तो मतलब एक नॉर्मली एक्सेप्टेड डेट इज 1648। So 1648 is an important year in evolution of international law that is called as Treaty of Westphalia. Okay? Westphalia is a place where in Europe? जर्मनी। ठीक है, ट्रीटी ऑफ वेस्टफेलिया। तो ट्रीटी ऑफ वेस्टफेलिया, व्हाट इज इट्स सिग्निफिकेंस? राइट इट्स सिग्निफिकेंस। द फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट in international law। ठीक है, इंटरनेशनल लॉ फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट है। इसका मतलब है लॉ क्या होता है? व्हाट इज लॉ? लॉ या हम एक रूल मानेंगे, नियम मानेंगे। तो फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट इन इंटरनेशनल लॉ हो गया फर्स्ट सेट ऑफ एग्रीमेंट्स where the nations states they agreed that we will follow this particular law when we will deal with ourselves। ठीक है, have you understood this? तो ये हम एक दूसरे से डील करेंगे तो हमारा ये फर्स्ट बेसिक एग्रीमेंट होगा, फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल होगा। ओके, तो नियम ये होगा, ये लॉ ये होगा, ये रूल होगा, फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल है। तो what is that first principle? What is there in Treaty of Westphalia? तो ऐसे लिखो, what is the first principle of international law? Which is the first ultimate principle of international law? What Russia has did in Ukraine? It has violated the international law। कौन सा सबसे बेसिक प्योर सेक्रेट फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रिटी या सॉवरेनिटी। ठीक है, द वेरी फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल ऑफ इंटरनेशनल लॉ, all states say we all will respect each other's sovereignty। ठीक है, now you write one question, what is the most distinctive feature of modern state? There are 4 elements of a state: territory, population, government, and sovereignty. What is most distinctive principle? What is the sovereignty? So for prelims, the answer will be sovereignty। ठीक है, तो अब ऐसे लिखो, वाई इट इज अ मोस्ट डिस्टिंक्टिव फीचर ऑफ मॉडर्न स्टेट। इसी को क्यों माना जाता है? ठीक है, Why it is the most distinctive feature? इसके लिए we should know little bit of history of Europe. लिखो right. We can explain this on the basis of history of Europe. ठीक है, बट उससे पहले एक समझना होगा कि व्हाट इज सोवरेनिटी. लिखो पहले, व्हाट इज सोवरेनिटी. एक और लिखो, अच्छा इसी में लिखते हैं, व्हाट इज सोवरेनिटी. तो सोवरेनिटी, व्हाट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ स्टेट. फर्स्ट फंक्शन, लॉ, फॉर्मुलेशन ऑफ लॉ. तो sovereignty tells the ultimate, पहले सुनो, ultimate power to make law lies with the state. ठीक है, but was it similar, like this principle was existing all the times? No. In medieval time, ultimate power was with the church. तो sovereignty, European states agreed that there will be no interference of the church now. And what is, have you heard about something like Roman emperor, Roman church? Roman church was some international body governing. Can we call UN as a new example of the Roman church? Fine. So UN is what? An international organization. India, China, Pakistan, they are national. Whose law prevails? UN law prevail or our domestic law prevail? Domestic law. ठीक है, UN law does not prevail. Why international? Which law has is superior? If the basic question is, which law is superior? Which law is a stronger law? Domestic law or international law? Domestic law. International law is no law because it cannot be enforced. And that law which can't be enforced. So abhi bhi word is made. Do we live in an international world? No. World is still organized on national lines. Sovereignty is still a established principle of international law. Principle है, and principle says sovereignty lies with the state. ठीक है, sovereignty is what? Ultimate power to make law. Why state make laws? What is the purpose of state making law? To protect its people. So sovereignty of the state, does it include the concept of right to protect my people, right to protect my territory? Has Russia violated the sovereignty principle? No. Russia's action is offensive or defensive? Defensive भी तो है. Russia can argue, a Russian diplomat can argue their case or not. If they had not gone for offense, then what would have happened? Then NATO would have just blocked them. ठीक है, they were hitting at the very survival of Russia. They would have cut. Russia's economy survives on oil and gas. By completely controlling the Ukraine, they would have just cut them off from the European market. Fine. It would have impacted. So the problem of Ukraine started with Crimea. Crimea is the only naval port Russia has in Black Sea for communication with the outside world. And if Crimea under Ukraine and Ukraine under US, which country will accept the soldiers of your enemy on the border? Should Russians wait for Americans to enter and kill Putin? ठीक है? So, as a Russian diplomat, can you argue the case? As a Ukrainian diplomat, you can argue the case. They have violated our sovereignty. So fine, because you can't have simple solutions. Fine. The sovereignty is a multidimensional concept, how we interpret it. ठीक है? Does India believe in concept of international sovereignty to be treated as sanctity, with sanctity? Sacrosanct? Fine. So India should have sided with whom? Russia or Ukraine? Is Ukraine altogether wrong? Is Russia altogether wrong? Then what has been the way forward for us? Non-aligned. ठीक है? Give friendly advices to both. Fine. You have to stay because no one is entirely wrong. And if in this entire episode, if someone is to be blamed the most, is US. So whether on the question of Ukraine, India's stand has been extremely pro-West? No. West has used extreme pressures on India? Yes. But we have been able to handle the pressure well by making it clear that India, we value the strategic partnership, but we are your partners. We are not your junior allies. We have our own point of view. Fine. Is India's stand completely self-centric stand, or India's stand is moralistic? Moralistic also. Self ऐसे नहीं है. It's not narrow selfish interest. India's stand has strengthened the strengthened international law, or it has weakened? Strengthened. ठीक है? Because we believe that sovereignty has to be respected. Obviously, we have sympathy with Ukraine. Fine. But we also understand the rationale of what Russia has done. So we have been able to come out of the trap and manage the situation. ठीक है? तो when you are going to study sovereignty, सिर्फ ऐसे नहीं लक्ष्मीकांत में पॉइंट नंबर 4 सोवरेनिटी 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 ऐसे पढ़ना है. सोवरेनिटी सोवरेनिटी सोवरेनिटी, हाँ, कैसे पढ़ना है? उसका यूसेज आना चाहिए, समझ आना चाहिए, आर्ग्यूमेंट करना चाहिए, किसी से सोवरेनिटी पर 10 मिनट बात करना आना चाहिए. ठीक है? किसी एग्जाम्पल के थ्रू यू शुड डेवलप अ कैपेसिटी टू एक्सप्लेन द एंटायर थिंग. तो प्रैक्टिकल हैंडी कॉन्सेप्ट रखो. ठीक है? सॉवरेनिटी पर एक बढ़िया लेक्चर ही दे दो. मान लो यूपीएससी में नहीं हुआ तो लेटरल एंट्री से ले लेंगे, है ना? तो उम्मीद कायम रखिए. उम्मीद वाले के लिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं है लाइफ में. ठीक है? तो एनीवे अब हम फिर से आ जाते हैं. तो व्हाट इज सॉवरेनिटी? ठीक है? सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सॉवरेनिटी इज supreme power to make law. Supreme power is not a right word, right? Supreme authority to make law. What is the difference in power and authority? Legitimacy. Fine. So authority means consent is there. So supreme power or authority to make law. Now underline this supreme. Why are we emphasizing on this word supreme? Right? Because in medieval Europe, because in medieval Europe, supremacy of a state with respect to formulation of laws was not vested only with the state. In fact, there was domination of church ठीक है तो देयर वॉज अ स्ट्रगल नोन एज थ्योरी ऑफ टू स्वॉर्ड्स देयर वॉज अ कॉम्पिटिशन बिटवीन चर्च एंड स्टेट ठीक है तो आप लिखो राइट हेंस इन मॉडर्न टाइम्स फाइनली things settled in favor of state ठीक है एक क्वेश्चन लिखो लिखो राइट लिखो इज देयर एनी कनेक्शन between the principle of sovereignty of a state and the concept of secular state. Is there a connection? या एक और क्वेश्चन लिखो लिखो कैन वी कॉल secular state and sovereign state one and same? Yes, same है सेक्युलराइजेशन ऑफ अथॉरिटी ठीक है तो इसमें ऐसे लिखो सॉवरेन इसका आंसर लिखो यस और इसका मीनिंग हो गया सेक्युलराइजेशन ऑफ अथॉरिटी मीन्स शिफ्टिंग द सॉवरेनिटी from church to non-religious oblique secular entity ठीक है secular state or state is sovereign is it one and the same thing ठीक है अब see secular we have two spheres in our life fine secular and religious इहलोक परलोक है एक गॉड का है स्पिरिचुअल जस्टमेंट एक स्पिरिचुअल पार्ट हो गया अपना और एक हमारा डे टू डे जिसको मंडेन भी बोलते हैं सेक्युलर इहलोक और परलोक, ठीक है, सेक्युलर एंड रिलीजियस। तो चर्च बिलोंग्स टू रिलीजियस, स्टेट इन मॉडर्न सिस्टम्स इज सेक्युलर, स्टेट सेक्युलर अथॉरिटी है। बाय डिफॉल्ट अगर क्वेश्चन आए एवरी मॉडर्न स्टेट इज अ सेक्युलर स्टेट, आंसर इज यस। एक ऐसे लिख लो भी, बता मतलब ये भी लिख लो ऐसे क्वेश्चन, वेदर एवरी सेक्युलर स्टेट या एवरी मॉडर्न स्टेट इज अ सेक्युलर स्टेट। मॉडर्न पे एक्चुअली ध्यान है, ठीक है, तो राइट यस। मेडिवल स्टेट नहीं भी हो सकती सेक्युलर स्टेट, ठीक है। तो मॉडर्न स्टेट, मेडिवल स्टेट, एंशियंट स्टेट, डू वी अंडरस्टैंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ टाइम? नो, in terms of principles on which a state is based. Can we call Saudi Arabia a modern state? No, because it is not a secular state. Fine. So secular and religious state. State and church, what is common? Make law. ठीक है, but today what church makes is not called as law. It is more about morality. ठीक है, it is more about custom सब बोलते हैं। अब इनको लॉ का दर्जा दिया जाता है? नहीं दिया जाता। अब लॉ किसके लिए यूज होता है? स्टेट के लिए। द टर्म लॉ ये है, मोरालिटी या कस्टम ये है। इज दिस पॉइंट क्लियर? तो किसका स्टेटस बढ़ गया? स्टेट का। तो ये लॉ आर सेक्युलर इन नेचर। लॉ मेड बाय स्टेट इज सेक्युलर इन नेचर। द लॉ मेड बाय चर्च आर रिलीजियस इन नेचर, ठीक है। तो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द क्वेश्चन ऑफ now, have you ever thought on this point that whenever the debate of uniform civil code comes, the question of secularism comes, fine, and it is believed that till India does not have a uniform civil code, we are not adhering to the प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ सेक्युलर स्टेट। बैकग्राउंड में क्वेश्चन लिखो वही वहां पे लिस्ट में। इस लिस्ट में लिखो एक्सप्लेन हाउ idea of uniform civil code gets associated with the idea of secular state. पढ़ना ये है, दिमाग इस पे लगाना है, ठीक है। अब एक और क्वेश्चन लिखो, लिखो राइट वेदर इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड मेक्स इंडिया मोर सेक्युलर or less secular. इन क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स सोचने, ठीक है। तो अभी हम आ जाते हैं जैसे सेक्युलर स्टेट, supreme authority to make law. Now, if in case of India, as far as the question of Muslim personal law is concerned, ठीक है, Muslim personal law, is it a misnomer? Is it more about customs? Muslim marriage is governed by customs. It is governed by morality. It is governed by the religious norms. ठीक है? तो are Muslim personal laws, the majority of Muslim personal laws in themselves, they are based on, they are religious in nature or they are secular in nature? Religious in nature. ठीक है, church की supremacy. But in modern state, do you accept the supremacy of the church? No. तो अगर Muslim personal laws are made by state, which is a secular institution, fine, then will it lead to secularization? Uniform civil code, does it mean, I am giving you two options. Uniform civil code, does it mean one law for all communities, or does it mean different laws but laws to be made by the state? Uniform civil code is not one law for all. Uniform civil code basically means a state getting power to make laws on, even in personal. So secular state, does uniform civil code is a secularization of Muslim personal laws? ठीक है, because you are giving the power to make law to a secular entity, या आप ले रहे हो चर्च से और उसको सेक्युलराइज कर रहे हो. ठीक है, तो इसकी डिबेट किससे जुड़ जाती है? सेक्युलराइजेशन की डिबेट से जुड़ जाती है. और कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि इंडिया की सेक्युलर स्टेट होने की आइडेंटिटी के लिए यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, जैसे वर्ड्स स्टूडेंट्स क्या करते हैं, बस वर्ड्स को सुनते हैं कि यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड strengthen secular character, but they don't understand how and why and what does that mean. ठीक है, तो क्या करना होता है, आप बहुत मैकेनिकली लिखते हो कि आप जस्ट इंफॉर्मेशन बेस्ड लिखते हो, अंडरस्टैंडिंग बेस्ड नहीं आता आपको कि भाई सेक्युलर स्टेट क्या है. सेक्युलर स्टेट इज अ हिस्टोरिकल प्रोसेस by which in Europe the authority to make law has been taken away from the church and is vested in the state, means in the secular authority, until unless that state is not governed by. So now tell me whether secular state is based on principle of equal citizenship, रिलीजियस न्यूट्रलिटी. ठीक है, तो ये सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स के फॉर्म में वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड. नाउ व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन? एक मिनट माइक दीजिए.
The countries like Pakistan or like the countries which are ruled by some religion who are not secular, but
they are not modern also. Whatever is not modern is not, whatever is not secular is not modern.
But as you have said that religion makes moral, they can't make laws, but the countries which are ruled
तो वो मॉडर्न नहीं है ना.
but law तो बना ही रहे. अपने
लॉ बनाने दो, लेकिन these countries are not modern state. In sociology or in social issues, you will study what is the definition of modernization. Modernity and tradition coexist in India. ठीक है, तो एक और क्वेश्चन लिखो पीछे. लिखो राइट टू. इसको यही डिबेट है, लेकिन अगर हम इसको सोशल इश्यूज में पूछें, पेपर 1 में पूछें, ठीक है, तो इसका क्या क्वेश्चन बन सकता है. लिखो राइट, डू यू थिंक एब्सेंस ऑफ यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड एंड continuation of Muslim personal law is a reflection of coexistence of modernity and tradition in India. Modernity and tradition in India. ऐसे भी तो बन सकता है क्वेश्चन. तो मॉडर्निटी की डेफिनेशन ही है सेक्युलराइजेशन. ठीक है, मॉडर्निटी की दूसरा कंपोनेंट होता है रैशनलाइजेशन. जब हम रैशनल बनते हैं तब हम मॉडर्न होते हैं. ठीक है, तो जब हम रैशनल होते हैं दैट टाइम द रोल ऑफ रिलीजन रिड्यूसेस. ठीक है, तो मॉडर्निटी इज एन एज ऑफ रैशनलाइजेशन. मॉडर्निटी स्टार्टेड विद एनलाइटनमेंट. एनलाइटनमेंट एस्टैब्लिश दैट मैन इज रैशनल. तो जो रैशनल होगा वो सेक्युलर होगा ही. रैशनलाइजेशन, सेक्युलराइजेशन, मॉडर्नाइजेशन. Modernization turns you secular because the role of religion reduces. फिर मॉडर्नाइजेशन की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक सोसाइटी सेक्शन में यू विल स्टडी इज अर्बनाइजेशन. ठीक है, तो अर्बनाइजेशन में क्या होता है, गांव में क्या है, यू लिव इन अ कम्युनिटी, बट इन अर्बनाइजेशन यू मूव आउट ऑफ योर कम्युनिटी. You start developing as an individual. The influence of tradition get loose. Fine, and rationality gets increased. Fine, so modernization के characteristic is again based on West. Fine, so rationalization, secularization, industrialization, urbanization. Agriculture is always a very collective thing. More and more society will become advanced. More and more individualistic it will turn. Fine. More advanced. Suppose my organization or any organization becomes all the more advanced. More human bonding will end. More we will become computers, robots. And more we will be dealing with robots than with humans. ठीक है, तो अभी तो पहले हम सोशल थे. मॉडर्निटी से we will become individualistic. और मॉडर्निटी आने से we will not remain human. We will become robots. You have to now match. You have to now compete with artificial intelligence. आज मुझे मतलब वो दिन आ गया, आई हैव टू कम्पीट विद चैट जीपीटी. आई हैव टू इंश्योर दैट चैट जीपीटी उतना पॉलिटिकल साइंस ना बता दे, वरना मेरा मार्केट खत्म. यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? तो आज मेरे को टीचर्स जो मार्केट में, उनको उनके बारे में थोड़ी, दे आर नॉट माई कॉम्पिटिटर. हु इज द न्यू कॉम्पिटिटर? चैट जीपीटी. तो हमको उसके जैसा फास्ट होना पड़ेगा. उस हिसाब से हमको इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोसेसिंग करनी पड़ेगी. तो कुछ दिन बाद हम खुद बन जाएंगे चैट जीपीटी. हाँ, द ह्यूमन एलिमेंट द एंड ऑफ ह्यूमन सिविलाइजेशन, ठीक है। सब रोबोट, हमारा नेक्स्ट आइडियल रोबोट ही है, इट्स ऑल मैकेनाइजेशन। तो ह्यूमन एलिमेंट, सोशल सॉलिडेरिटी, ऑल दीज एलिमेंट्स विल कीप ऑन एंडिंग। अब कंपटीशन इतना तगड़ा है, चैट जीपीटी के पास इतना रिसोर्स है, इसका मतलब है टाइम विल बिकम सो लेस फॉर मी नाउ टू compete. I have to keep pace ahead of that. ठीक है, तो फिर क्या हो जाएगा, हम या एब्सोल्युटली रैशनल बन जाएंगे, यानी हमारे अंदर इमोशनल एलिमेंट कुछ बचेगा ही नहीं, टाइम किसके पास होगा। ठीक है, तो मॉडर्निटी का मतलब हो गया रैशनलाइजेशन, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, टेक्नोलॉजिकल ग्रोथ brought, what element brought modernity? Technological growth, urbanization, individualism, ठीक है। तो ये सब इंटरलिंक्ड फिनोमिना है। तो आज स्टेट कोई हो, लेकिन इसका मतलब वो मॉडर्न स्टेट नहीं, ठीक है। दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड you can't consider Iran as a modern state, just you can't consider Saudi Arabia as a modern state, fine. So you can consider China as a modern state, India as a modern state, Pakistan in constitution is a modern state, but in system, if we take systems view, it is not functioning as a modern state. Yes.
Saudi Arabia secular state नहीं है,
ना, yes, secular नहीं,
sovereign state है।
सॉवरेनिटी मान ली गई लेकिन सेक्युलर नहीं है, मतलब उसको स्टेट मान लिया गया लेकिन वो मॉडर्न स्टेट नहीं है।
sovereign state है,
सॉवरेन है लेकिन पार्शियल है, डोमेस्टिक में नहीं है उनके पास सॉवरेनिटी, ठीक है। एक्सटर्नल में सॉवरेनिटी मान ली गई है क्योंकि उनको इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी का पार्ट मान लिया गया है। ओनली सॉवरेन स्टेट can be a member of international organization. So if Saudi Arabia is a member of UN, its sovereignty in external aspect is there, but internally can they exercise sovereignty? No, they are under the church, they are under the rule of religion, ठीक है। तो वो बाहर वालों ने मान ली सॉवरेनिटी, लेकिन और ऐसा भी हो सकता है, थिंग्स कैन चेंज, ठीक है। अभी तो क्या हो रहा है, इट इज अ टाइम व्हेन वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर इज चेंजिंग एंड रीअलाइनमेंट ऑफ फोर्सेस आर हैपनिंग। It may not be necessary that future states will remain modern states. They can become post-modern states also. They may be realigned. The entire Muslim world may get realigned on the principle of Muslim Ummah or Muslim Brotherhood. The idea with which ISIS came into existence, that they will integrate the entire Muslim world becoming one confederation, ठीक है। तो things change fast, things can work in a different, we can come back from age of nation, modern nation states to the age of civilizations again. What China is doing, trying to establish its influence beyond China, Southeast Asia, तो फिर से अलाइनमेंट होगा। जैसे पहले सिटी स्टेट थे, फिर रोमन एम्पायर, फिर मॉडर्न स्टेट, फिर रीअलाइनमेंट होगा। फिर हो सकता है कि वर्ल्ड इज बिकमिंग मल्टीपोलर, मींस डिफरेंट सिविलाइजेशंस कंट्रोल्ड बाय देयर ओन पोल। Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific controlled by China. India itself is a civilizational state controlled by New Delhi. Fine. US, ऐसे futuristic political formations में भी different. ठीक है, आप समझ गए। आप फिर से अब हम आ जाते हैं। तो थिंकिंग को थोड़ा, दिमाग को क्या देना पड़ेगा, थिंकिंग, वो क्वेश्चंस एप्लीकेशन वाले होंगे, ठीक है। तो दिमाग को देना होगा झटका, क्या बोलते हैं, यूज। ऐसे नहीं पढ़ना है, अगर एप्लीकेशन ही नहीं समझ रहे कॉन्सेप्ट का तो क्वेश्चन नहीं होंगे। तो अब हम लोग फिर से आते हैं, लास्ट लाइन क्या थी अपने, व्हाट टाइप ऑफ स्टेट? नॉर्थ कोरिया तो मॉडर्न स्टेट है, वो तो बिल्कुल आइडियल मॉडर्न स्टेट है, ठीक है। स्टेट हैज एब्सोल्यूट सॉवरेनिटी इन डोमेस्टिक स्फीयर, एब्सोल्यूट सॉवरेनिटी इन इंटरनेशनल स्फीयर। उतनी ज्यादा सॉवरेनिटी तो इंटरनेशनल में नो वन एल्स इज एक्सरसाइजिंग, दे आर डूइंग वॉट एवर दे वॉन्ट, they are not respecting any NPT, MTCR, nothing, they are doing whatever they want, ठीक है। no country has any clue how to deal with them, ठीक है। तो असली तो मजा उन्हीं का है, जब मन आया तब हाइड्रोजन, ये बम, वो मिसाइल दे मिसाइल, अपने लोगों को जो मन करना है कर रहे, ठीक है। तो असली सॉवरेन तो वही है। हाँ,
in the West, the definition of secularism is like there is strict difference between the state and the religion. Then, if we talk about UCC, if the government involves the decision making of religion, then perhaps the state loses its secular nature. Is it so?
the thing is there is always two sides of a coin. कॉइन इज अ कॉइन, लेकिन उसके साइड दो हैं, और ये तो इंटरप्रेटर पर डिपेंड करता है। यू हैव टू बी एन एडवोकेट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, ठीक है। आपको गवर्नमेंट की साइड को आगे ले जाके बढ़ाना है। इफ वी गो टुवर्ड्स यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड वी विल बिकम मोर सेक्युलर, इफ वी डोंट गो देन ऑल्सो वी आर सेक्युलर। आज इंडिया सेक्युलर स्टेट तो है ही, प्रियम्बल तो कही रहा, लेकिन यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड तो है नहीं। उसी सेक्युलर स्टेट के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में भी तो यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड है। तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस आर लॉयर्स पैराडाइज, ठीक है। इट ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन द इंटेलिजेंस ऑफ अ लॉयर टू present the things. You have nothing to do with what is right and wrong. You have nothing to do with what is there in the constitution. You only have to present your case. समझ में आया? Every lawyer knows my client has committed murder, but as a lawyer I have to protect my client, क्योंकि पैसा लिया है। मर्डर जानते हुए भी हम क्या कोशिश करेंगे? हाँ, तो आप क्या बनने वाले हैं? स्टेट के फिलोसफर बनने वाले हैं, क्या बनने वाले हैं? एडवोकेट, ठीक है। तो आप ऐसे व्यक्ति होने चाहिए जिसके पास, जिसका वैल्यू जजमेंट कैसा हो? स्टेट ओरिएंटेड हो, ठीक है, नॉट ट्रुथ ओरिएंटेड, ठीक है। सच्चाई की खोज में लोग क्या करते हैं? महल से निकल के सड़क पे बैठते हैं। आप सच्चाई की खोज में थोड़ी जा रहे हैं, आप तो महल में जा रहे हैं। महल का जो जीवन है वो सच्चाई से दूर है। आपकी फाइट कोई सच्चाई बच्चाई के लिए नहीं। आप पैसा ले रहे हो सरकार से, तनख्वाह ले रहे हो, किस चीज के लिए? सरकार को सुगमता से चलाने के लिए, सत्य न्याय निष्ठा करने के लिए थोड़ी ले रहे हो, ठीक है। तो अपना सिस्टम, आप ब्यूरोक्रेसी में जा रहे हैं, ना तो आप एकेडमिक्स में जा रहे हैं, ना आप सोशल मूवमेंट्स में जा रहे हैं, आप पॉलिटिक्स में भी नहीं जा रहे। आप पॉलिटिक्स में जा रहे हैं, पॉलिटिक्स में भी स्कोप है टू मेक न्यू लॉज, बट इन आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में जा रहे हैं, आप नौकरी कर रहे हैं। नौकर जैसे रहिए। नौकर क्या करता है? ऑर्डर लेता है। और आपको नौकरी किस लिए दी गई है? जो बताया है वो जाके पब्लिक को बताना है। और पब्लिक को समझाना है यही सही है, ठीक है, तो आपको बनना है एडवोकेट ऑफ द स्टेट, ठीक है। इसीलिए सत्यनिष्ठा न्यायप्रियता वाला जो एथिक्स का टॉपिक है, हमेशा आपको स्टेट के फेवर में रहना है। प्रिंस मोरालिटी इज पर्सनल एंड पब्लिक इज डिफरेंट। पर्सनली आप डिसएग्री करें यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड से, लेकिन एज अ ऑफिसर आपको गुणगान करना है उसका, और बाकियों को गुणगान करने के लिए फोर्स करना है। तो आपका काम है, आप पैसा ले रहे हो उस चीज का, क्या करने जा रहे हो? नौकरी, सरकारी नौकरी, चाकरी, है ना? तो ठीक है, पर्सनल बिलीव जो भी रखे, तो विल यू सपोर्ट imposition of armed forces special power act in the pockets? Yes. You can't be human. There is no relation between being human and being an administrator. पुलिस थोड़ी ह्यूमन हो सकती है, हो सकती है? पुलिस वाला बोले बेटा चाय पी लो, बता दो गलती क्यों की, बेटा बताएगा? जैसे तो डंडे पड़ेंगे तो बता देगा। देयर इज नो रिलेशन बिटवीन ह्यूमैनिटी, इसीलिए ह्यूमैनिटी वाला पेपर इन्होंने एथिक्स अलग से कर दिया, ठीक है। तो ऐसे करना ही नहीं है, अपने को बिल्कुल क्रूएल बनना है, ठीक है। हम ना तो सोशल मूवमेंट, सोशल रिफॉर्मर नहीं है भैया, जिसका पैसा ले रहे हैं उसका काम कर रहे हैं, बी प्रोफेशनल, ठीक है। तो इसी एटीट्यूड से अपने को पढ़ना है, ठीक है। अब आगे हम लोग किस मुद्दे पे थे? सोवरेनिटी, सेक्युलराइजेशन ऑफ अथॉरिटी, ठीक है। तो हिस्टोरिकली उस चीज को आप समझ सकते हैं। एंड सोवरेनिटी इज ऑफ, सोवरेनिटी ऑफ द स्टेट से बेटर वर्ड होता सोवरेनिटी लाइज विद द स्टेट, इट वुड हैव क्रिएटेड लेस कंफ्यूजन, ठीक है। तो व्हाट इज सोवरेनिटी? सुप्रीम पावर टू मेक लॉ, ठीक है। लॉ इज, व्हाट इज लॉ? व्हाट इज लॉ? लिखो ऐसे, व्हाट इज लॉ? ठीक है, लिखो राइट। लॉज रिप्रेजेंट the binding rules binding है, binding means comes with punishment, लिखो राइट। लॉ मतलब comes with punishment, बाइंडिंग तो तब होगा ना जब पनिशमेंट होगा, पेनल्टी होगी, है कि नहीं? अब लिखो, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस इन लॉ एंड मोरालिटी? Morality is not legally binding. सोशल हो सकता है, मोरालिटी इन्फोर्स करने के लिए सोशल पुलिस होती है, मॉरल पुलिस। ये वाली पुलिस मोरालिटी इम्पोज करती नहीं, तो मोरालिटी बाइंडिंग नहीं है, लॉ बाइंडिंग है, ठीक है। तो एक लिखो राइट, द यूनिक फीचर ऑफ लॉ इज enforcement of law, अंडरलाइन करो enforcement of law, और लिखो what is the difference in execution of law and enforcement of law? enforcement डायरेक्टरेट पहुंचती, ठीक है। इन्फोर्समेंट कब होता है? एग्जीक्यूशन और इन्फोर्समेंट, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस? भाई कस्टम्स में या जीएसटी में एक विंग होगा जिनका काम इन्फोर्समेंट होगा, एक का काम है नॉर्मल एग्जीक्यूशन होगा। क्या डिफरेंस? इन्फोर्समेंट लिखो, राइट। इन्फोर्समेंट कम्स इनटू पिक्चर when law is violated. Law enforcing the law means, लिखो right, enforcing law means imposing penalties. मान लो जीएसटी में तुम्हारा सिलेक्शन हो गया, किस डिपार्टमेंट में घुसने की कोशिश करो? नॉर्मल एग्जीक्यूशन में कि इन्फोर्समेंट में? पैसा कहाँ है? इन्फोर्समेंट में। लोग बताते हैं ना आजकल हम इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट में हैं, तो बताना चाह रहे कि हम बहुत कमा रहे। ठीक है, कि असली रुतबा अब है, ऑफिस में थोड़ी। ठीक है, तो ऑफिसर बनने के बाद इन्फोर्समेंट विंग में घुस जाना। ठीक है, बीए टाइप पुलिस कहीं भी, तो इन्फोर्समेंट करना, पेनाल्टी लेना, पेनाल्टी जमा करना। ठीक है, तो बहुत डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स ऑल्सो एग्जिस्ट। तुम ये भी कह सकते हो कि पेनाल्टी है 9 करोड़, चीजें हम बना सकते हैं। लॉ इज व्हाट? पैराडाइज। ठीक है, 6 में सेटल हो जाएगा, 5 जमा कर देना, 1 इधर जमा कर देना। ठीक है, और संभाल देना, मतलब बस यही सब है। तो स्टेट का मेन काम हो गया इन्फोर्समेंट। तो व्हाट इज लॉ? दैट कम्स विद द पावर ऑफ पनिशमेंट। इन्फोर्समेंट, तो sovereignty is supreme power to make law and to enforce law. So you enforce law on both internal fronts and external fronts. In external front, you enforce law with the help of army. In domestic front, you enforce law with the help of police. And sometimes you have to call army also for enforcement of law. ठीक है, तो आर्मी तो मणिपुर में है तब भी नहीं करवा पा रही। ठीक है, तो अब ये सब पूछना पड़ेगा, लेकिन वो हम लोग नहीं पूछेंगे। ठीक है, अब तो देश में पूछने वाला कोई बचा नहीं, पहले थोड़ा एनडीटीवी पूछ लेता था। ठीक है, अब तो कौन किससे पूछेगा? इससे अच्छा है जो है वो है। ठीक है, तो इन्फोर्समेंट, sovereignty you have understood. How will you enforce sovereignty in external? Army. तो external ऐसे लिखो, what are the 2 dimensions of sovereignty? First write internal. Second is external. ठीक है, नाउ राइट इंटरनल का मीनिंग क्या? इंटरनल मीन्स अल्टीमेट पावर to make law with respect to the people living in a particular territory. Underline करो ultimate power. It means neither any institution in domestic sphere Bracket में you can say, for example, church, nor any institution neither any institution in domestic sphere, church, association, कुछ भी, nor any institution in external sphere. ब्रैकेट में लिखो या एग्जाम्पल लिखो, फॉर एग्जाम्पल WTO can compel the state to follow their guidelines. Then it is called as sovereignty in domestic sphere. ठीक है, अब लिखो external sovereignty. लिखो राइट, absolute power to take any action with respect to the preservation of its national interest. Why I am not, या एक और लिखो, preservation of its national interest, लिखो लिखो राइट, even to opt for war, even to opt for war, right? Full stop में लिखो, even UN charter recognizes states' rights to take any action in self-defense. ठीक है, तो in self-defense you can take any action. You can even use nuclear weapon if Russia thinks they can use. पता नहीं अभी यूज तो नहीं कर लिया अभी सुबह सुबह, कुछ खबर टाइप्स आ रही थी, तो that's all permissible, but you have to just establish that it is for self defense. ठीक है, तो that is accepting the principle of sovereignty. So sovereignty has external and internal dimensions, and sovereignty on this very principle is based the principle of international law or modern system of governance. ठीक है, एक और concept of sovereignty prelims के लिए ऐसे लिखो, एक ऐसे और लिखो, types of sovereignty. So there are different ways we understand sovereignty. So one way of understanding the sovereignty is, right, de jure versus de facto. ठीक है, डी जुरे. डी जुरे मीन्स बाई लॉ, इन लॉ. De facto means in practice. ठीक है. In Lakshmikant, they have written wrongly, calling it nominal and real. Nominal and real is not sovereignty. Nominal and real is power. ठीक है. And they have created this confusion as if real is de facto and nominal is de jure. De jure is not nominal. De jure is by law, legally speaking. ठीक है. अब डी जुरे का एग्जाम्पल से समझ लो. लिखो, राइट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, व्हेन मनमोहन सिंह was prime minister, ठीक है, he had de jure sovereignty. He was sovereign in due jure sense. Sovereign in due jure sense. But real powers lied with सोनिया गांधी. तो क्या हो गया? डी फैक्टो. तो रियल प्राइम मिनिस्टर तो सोनिया गांधी थी और मनमोहन सिंह कैसे थे? डी जुरे थे. तो डी जुरे ये भी हो सकता है कि डी जुरे डी फैक्टो. मोदी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डी जुरे डी फैक्टो इज वन. फाइन. तो इज डी जुरे नॉमिनल? नहीं. तो डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. यहां पे नोट करके लिख लो. लिखो, राइट. डी जुरे शुड नॉट बी कंफ्यूज्ड विथ nominal sovereignty. President is nominal head. वो वर्ड का यूसेज गलत है. He is a nominal executive. He is executive for name sake. दो चीजें एक हैं लेकिन वर्ड्स के कॉन्टेक्स्ट आर डिफरेंट. ठीक है. प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया, जब हम डी जुरे डी फैक्टो व्हेन वी आर डिस्कसिंग, तो लुक टुवर्ड्स पर्सन. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द प्रेजेंट प्रेसिडेंट, क्या नाम है उनका? मुर्मू. हाँ, तो इतना इनसिग्निफिकेंट हो गई पोस्ट के नाम तक मेरे को याद नहीं रहता है. फाइन. तो प्रेजेंट प्रेसिडेंट इज द प्रेजेंट प्रेसिडेंट इज डी जुरे प्रेसिडेंट. Is she de facto also? Yes. प्रेसिडेंट के रूप में वही व्यक्ति प्रेसिडेंट के रूप में कार्य कर रहा है या कोई और करवा रहा है? वो चलो प्रेसिडेंट से छोड़ दो. तो आप बताओ, मोदी जी. मोदी जी इज डी फैक्टो पीएम, लेट अस assume, and also de jure पीएम. ठीक है. मुर्मुरू इज डी फैक्टो नॉट, क्या नाम उनका? यही नाम ना. तो शी इज डी फैक्टो एंड डी जुरे प्रेसिडेंट. बट नाउ वी टॉक अबाउट इंस्टीट्यूशन. इफ अ पर्सन इज एबल टू एक्सरसाइज इट्स पावर ऑन इट्स ओन फॉर विच ही इज मेंट टू, then he is both. If he is not, then he is not. ठीक है. जैसे कंपनी में होता है ना, एक होता है डायरेक्टर और एक होता है एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर. अगर दोनों एक हो, ठीक है, एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर जो हो जाता है वो डी फैक्टो हो जाता है, उसके एग्जीक्यूशन से चल रहा है, और एक डायरेक्टर है नेम से. ठीक है. तो इंस्टीट्यूशन, व्हेन वी डिस्कस प्रेसिडेंट वर्सेस प्राइम मिनिस्टर, वी आर डिस्कसिंग द नेचर ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशन. बट व्हेन वी आर डिस्कसिंग डी जूरे डी फैक्टो, We are discussing person. Is person able to exercise the power in reality also or not? ठीक है, जैसे पॉलिटिकल साइंस में मान लो डिसीजन मेकिंग करनी, तो हु एम आई एम जस्ट अ डी जूरे हेड ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशन. ठीक है, किसको कंसेशन देना है, किसको एडमिशन देना है, ये तो कोई और डिसाइड कर रहा है, मेरी बात भी नहीं रख रहे. ठीक है, तो वो क्या हो गया, वो लोग डी फैक्टो है, हम कौन है, आई एम द फेस वैल्यू ऑफ दैट एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम. ठीक है, तो अगर एज अ पर्सन हम डी फैक्टो करवा नहीं रहे तो हम यहाँ के डी जुड़े हेड हैं. लेकिन इंस्टीट्यूशन पर्सन के बेसिस पर जब हम अंडरस्टैंड कर रहे हैं तो डी जुरे वर्सेस डी फैक्टो. ठीक है, जैसे अब ये सब लोग डी फैक्टो एकदम खड़े हैं, मैम निकलिए कमरे से, हाँ, ये निखिल जी खड़े हुए हैं पीछे, तो इनकी आज्ञा के आगे हम यहाँ कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं. कल बोलेंगे मैम डिस्टर्ब कर देती है, अपने टाइम से क्लास नहीं, हमें दिक्कत है, तो डी जुरे डी फैक्टो हो गया. लेकिन नॉमिनल और रियल. ठीक है, तो कुछ क्लासेस नॉमिनल होंगे, वो नाम के क्लास होंगे जहां पढ़ाई नहीं होती होगी. ठीक है, और कुछ क्लास होंगे जो रियल होंगे जहां काम की होगी. ठीक है, तो इंस्टीट्यूशन पर्सन टू पर्सन, डी जुरे डी फैक्टो. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? इंटरनल सॉवरेनिटी, एक्सटर्नल सॉवरेनिटी you have understood. So tomorrow we'll continue further, and the first topic that we will start formally will be preamble. ठीक है, एक लास्ट में क्वेश्चन की लिस्ट में लिखो, तो क्वेश्चन की लिस्ट में लिखो, हाउ ग्लोबलाइजेशन impacts sovereignty of state. ठीक है, इन प्रिंसिपल, ऐसे लिखो, इन प्रिंसिपल, सैद्धांतिक तौर पे कैसे अफेक्ट करता है. ठीक है, अब लिखो हाउ या व्हाट हैज बीन, इसी में, हाँ, what has been the impact of globalization on sovereignty of India. ये लिस्ट रखना, यही मेंस के टाइम जब रिवीजन करेंगे तब, अभी तो बेसिक्स तब, लेकिन एकदम से क्वेश्चन मिलते नहीं. ठीक है, ये लिस्ट लिखते रहना, बीच बीच में डिस्कस करते हैं. एनीथिंग यू वांट टू आस्क? यस, लॉयर्स का पैराडाइज है. पैराडाइज क्या होता है? स्वर्ग. स्वर्ग का मतलब क्या होता है? खुशी, खुशी मिलना, पैसा मिलना. लॉयर्स, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के कारण जनता का कोई भला दिखता है? पैसे कौन कमा रहा है? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. तो अपने पैराडाइज है अपना, इधर उधर तोड़ मरोड़. विल डू इट टुमारो. एनी क्वेश्चन यू वांट टू आस्क? मेरे अलावा कोई भी टीचर आएगा, ठीक है, उसके साथ आपको फ्रीक्वेंसी मैनेज करो. फास्ट लग रहा है तो स्लो कराओ, स्लो लग रहा है तो फास्ट कराओ, जो भी है. ठीक है, तो ऐसे परेशान नहीं होना है. ठीक है, थिंग्स कैन बी एडजस्टेड, पीपल टेक टाइम.